back to Coffee Break. I'm your non-recyclable host, Mason Langlois, and today we brought on two members of the Town of Dartmouth Waste Management Department to speak to us about what to do and not to do when recycling. But first, let's get on with the Mug of the Week. So for this week's mug, we have a very special mug because one of my own personal favorite holidays is coming up. We have a Halloween-themed mug. It's got a bunch of pumpkins and skeletons on it. I'm really excited because next week is Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays personally. I love spooky things. Yeah, let's get on with the interview. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Coffee Break. Today I'm here with Meg and Marissa from New Bedford Recycling to talk more about recycling and the do's and don'ts. So why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you do?
Sure. My name's Marissa Perez-Dormitzer, and I'm the Waste Reduction Manager, that's my title, for the Greater New Bedford Regional Refuse Management District. I know that's a mouthful. So Meg, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. And my name is Meg Hebert, and I am the Waste Reduction Coordinator for the Regional Refuse Management District.
All right guys, so thank you all for coming on today. So we just wanted to ask you guys a few questions, one of them being, what are some common mistakes that are made when people buy recycling?
Sure, great question. So first thing is to put the things that belong in the recycling and only those things. That'd be the first good step. So in Dartmouth, we have the gray lid cart, and so that's for the bottles and cans. So in the gray lid cart, you put clean water bottles, laundry jugs, things like that. What are other examples, Meg?
Right, and so we would accept things like empty Gatorade bottles. So like Marissa said, bottles, cans, and we also accept jugs and jars. So there could be, a cleaned out jar. That would be a yes. And there's several things that are jug, like a milk jug, laundry detergent jug. So that would be glass, metal, and plastic containers that go in that gray lid cart.
Great. And then when it comes to the black lid cart, that one's for paper and cardboard. And so at school, you might think of your test, your different school papers like that, or a folder you might have. Then at home, we might have other things like a cereal box or a cardboard box if you get a lot of deliveries, items like that. Anything else, Meg?
Newspapers, magazines. So all of those paper items, even a pizza box. So they have done the tests and they have successfully turned the pizza box into a new cardboard box. Of course, they don't want food. So I know you initially asked us, what are the no's? So they can't turn food into new paper. It's that paper. So with a pizza box, it's no liner, no little plastic pizza saver. So you would get rid of that if there's any crust. You either eat it or compost it. So just an empty pizza box, that's a yes. So paper and cardboard go in the black lid cart. And then in terms of how the no's, they'd pretty much be everything else pretty much. So common examples, so we would not want plastic bags because those tangle the equipment. We wouldn't want the items bagged because the different items have to get to different locations. So for instance, they make a big huge bale of aluminum cans, so those have to go in one direction, whereas your milk jugs would go in get a big huge cube of just milk jugs, so those have to go in another place. So we wouldn't want those bagged because then they don't get successfully separated. So those are some common no's. Like I mentioned, food is another one. Liquids, we don't want that. Hoses, those tangle in the equipment, so those are a major no. Clothing is a major no. So those are some of the big ones. Batteries, because batteries can cause a fire, so batteries never belong in the curbside carts at all. Batteries need to be dropped off for recycling if they're rechargeable. They have heavy metals, so those definitely need to be dropped off. And Marissa, did you want to mention any other major
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've been visiting some of the schools in Dartmouth too, and noticing some things that don't actually belong in the recycling bins here. So things like candy wrappers or chip bags, those would go in the trash. Then also in a few classrooms, I noticed these blister packages where it's like plastic formed into maybe some highlighters or pens, and then there's a paper backing. And so if you can rip that paper off, but the blister, the plastic part, would actually go in the trash.
Okay.
Right.
So, building on top of that, for specific cases like batteries and other types of the things that you mentioned, do you guys know of any other alternative ways to throw them out? Like, I know e-waste is a big issue. Do you guys know of any other ways that we could, either just get those out of our hands?
Yes. Yep, go ahead.
Well, I was actually thinking of some other things, like the textiles, if you don't mind that I mentioned those. So they were actually banned from the trash last November, and so we do get a lot of questions about what can I do with, so what is a textile first? Textiles are the clothes that we're wearing, so that would be a great example of those. So there are clothing bins around the town, and they're actually at all the schools. And so the schools benefit from the program when residents drop off clothing there. So, and then there's also the city, rather the town's transfer station, where residents can drop off a whole bunch of things like propane tanks, rigid plastics, like plastic items. Well, there are some other examples.
Yeah, clothing, and then you were getting into the e-waste, the electronics. That's a really important topic. So since they do not go in the curbside carts or the blue bins here at school, like Marissa's mentioning, the transfer station, so they do accept computer monitors, televisions. There is a fee associated with those. And then another place, if it's more convenient for someone, Best Buy has a very extensive electronics recycling program. A lot of it is accepted for free. TVs would be an exception, and monitors. Staples also has they're in Fairhaven, Best Buy is in Dartmouth. Staples has a very large electronics recycling program, and batteries, they take those as well. So those are some great places, and so there's a very long list, things that they accept: cell phones, fax machines, routers, cables. So it's really worth checking out those lists, because you can drop off many things there.
So to come full circle back around, why in general is recycling beneficial to the environment?
Sure, there are so many reasons. We want to preserve our natural resources, so we don't want to cut down trees to make paper. We want to be able to make paper from paper that we already have. But the one thing that affects us most, Meg and I, is the landfill. And so locally, our trash goes to the Crapo Hill landfill, which is actually located in the town of Dartmouth. It's a very local landfill. It's run by the refuse district that we work for. And so we work really hard to try to encourage residents to recycle, but also just in general to reduce their waste, right? We want to cut down on waste. We think of the landfill as the last resort for our waste. So we should all work to think of different things, like Meg's talking about the transfer station, and bring our clothing to the clothing bins. So to try to, if there are outlets for those items, let's take care of them that way instead of filling up the landfill. Right now, the landfill in the current area that they're filling, it's expected to last around 5 to 6 more years. We are looking at possible ways to extend that life, but that's really the key reason that we think is to extend the life of the landfill. Once it fills up, they're likely going to have to take our trash far, far away at a much higher cost. So it's really important to think about what we can recycle, how we can reduce, trying to use reusable bags, trying to use a reusable water bottle, all different things like that. It really makes an impact.
So, furthermore, what would you say that you can do to help remind yourself, like, for example, me and my family, something that we always get mixed up on is, we never remember to put the bins in, like the gray and the black lids. What like sort of reminders or like things would you do to help remind yourself to put the things in the right bins?
Sure. So like the gray lid, I might think of metal as a gray color, so we know metal cans are a really important thing to recycle. That would be the food and beverage metal cans. So an aluminum can is a super great thing to recycle, because they can just melt down that aluminum can and turn it into another can in as little as 60 days, and that reduces pollution greatly rather than digging up brand new aluminum from the earth, and that is it causes pollution, it ruins the habitat in that area, so there's a lot of reasons to recycle that. And then your food can, so that's either steel or tin, so I might think of that as gray, so that might be a memory device that, okay, that's got the cans in it, and then what are other containers, because we know that food and beverage can, it's a container for food, and those are the other types of things that go in that gray lid cart, your containers like water bottle, laundry jug, milk jug. The milk jug's a great thing to recycle. We recently visited a material recovery facility, which is called a MRF for short. They sort the materials, and they were saying they can't get enough milk jugs right now because people want to be creating new milk jugs. So you're asking also about that importance of recycling. It's raw materials for creating a new item. So make that new aluminum can, that new milk jug. So those are all important. So yeah, good question. And then the paper, yeah, I know, maybe not much of a tie-in, but paper and cardboard goes in the black lid cart. So yeah, you could put a little label on it if there's not a label. So yeah, just to try to make sure you get the correct materials in there. But that is a great question because it is very helpful for those things to go to the right place. It has to get to the right facility to get turned into something new.
Of course.
Definitely. I can mention also that on the town's website there is a calendar. So along with the 2 different carts and remembering what to put in each one is remembering which one to set out on a given week.
Yeah.
And so there is a nice calendar on the town's website that residents can look for. It's within the Department of Public Works on their pages. So that can be really helpful. And there's also recycling information. I'm pretty sure there's a recycling flyer on there. So if folks wanted to remind themselves what goes in which cart, that can be helpful as well.
So yeah, expanding upon that, where are some places that people can get referred to or go to if they have a question or just need help in general with information about recycling?
Sure, there are many places. So we run the Dartmouth Recycling Facebook page, so that's a great place to get information. And then there's the Dartmouth DPW. So again, the DPW, or Department of Public Works, they're the ones who run the whole program. And so it's great to call them. I can give you their number. It's 508-999-0740. And so that's a great place to call with questions about what to drop off at the transfer station or about the recycling program. What do I put in this cart? When do I set it out? Different questions like that. Yep.
You guys are involved right now in our classes and helping us to make some videos about recycling and the importance of it. Would you guys like to go into depth with any of that? Or?
Sure, yep. So the other day I came in and gave a presentation about many different topics about reduce, reuse, recycle, composting, and the media class they are already figuring out which projects they want to focus on, and then we're going to come in and they're going to pitch their ideas to us, and then they'll make specific little videos about these topics, which we really appreciate because that's helping to get the word out, and you do a very professional job, so we're really happy about that. And then we know there's this donor's choice where we're hoping to help you get a new camera for the filming projects to get the word out about these important topics. And I know that so if someone donates $20, it turns into $40 because it's matched.
Everything is matched by donors too.
Nice, excellent.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on today. It's been a great help. Everything that you guys do is amazing. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
Scene 1, take 1, action.
Wait, don't put it in the trash, put it in recycling.
Wait, why?
Because it can stop climate change and be turned into something else.
Oh, so if I were to put this in here, then the plastic would get all tangled in garbage and it would be hard to sort?
You could use a reusable water like me and fill in the stations over there.
Oh, okay. I may need to get one of those.
For more information on recycling in our town, visit www.town.dartmouth.ma.us. In the search bar, you can search solid waste and recycling to learn more information about recycling and what you can do to help. Get the job done, recycle, and have fun.
Well, everyone, that comes to the end of this episode of Coffee Break. I've been your host, Mason Langlois, and next week we have for you a very special episode featuring myself and the media team going to the fall conference for MassQ. That's all we have for this week. See you all next time on Coffee Break.